Hey guys, my name is Brandon and welcome to or welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you like what you see in here, you're more than welcome to hit the subscribe button so you stay notified every time I upload a new video. Okay, let's get straight on with today's video. Hey everyone and welcome back to Is That More Brandon. So in today's video, I'm going to be doing a review to the 11th episode of Celebrity Big Brother 2024. So without further ado, let us get straight into the video. So at the beginning of the episode, AJ and Will, your hosts of Big Brother, basically both revealed it was going to be a live double eviction. So I think at this point I kind of expected a double eviction, but I wasn't sure whether it was going to be on Thursday or potentially Friday, or obviously at some point over the weekend. But we found out that tonight's episode we were obviously going to lose 2 of the housemates. David said to Bradley that he's going to wonder how everyone is going to feel this morning, obviously the morning of the third lots of evictions. And Marisha basically said to Louis that she's back with a bang. So after kind of, you know, potentially having a bit of a difficult day the previous day with the nominations, she is back as to what she was before. And then Fern kind of asked David and Bradley, because I think the 3 of them were standing in the kitchen. She asked who didn't want the kiss, and David basically said it was Ekin-Su that didn't want one. And Ekin basically said to Coulson that she needed to get through this. She's going to be angry, she's going to be upset, and this is obviously a test for her to overcome. Fern came to the diary room and said that she's obviously going to miss the cup of tea in the garden if she goes. She doesn't live far from this property, and I think her parents didn't live far, so unfortunately her parents are not here anymore. So it's kind of I guess for her it's a nice thing to be in the Big Brother house because it kind of brings you closer to that family home you once used to be at. And Louis said to Nikita that nothing can be worse from what happened yesterday, with Ekin kind of just saying, look, let's not get in trouble again speaking about opinions and speaking about nominations, with Louis saying not in the last week, you don't want to kind of have any of this sort of drama or anything like that at all. Ekin-Su basically said what's annoying is people asking her if she's okay. So I think here Louis had obviously asked her if she was okay, but I guess she just said here, look, this is something I don't like. And I think that's the thing with life as well, like if you're not okay, you're going to be easily showing that on your face. If you are okay, people shouldn't really be asking if you're okay. It kind of seems a little bit fake. And then Louis basically explained that he doesn't play with adults. He doesn't like people who... Levi said he doesn't play with adults. He doesn't like people who play the game. And he doesn't like those who play with people's emotions. And Louis said he's fed up of fucking people because he knows it's fake. And he knows that some people in the house are acting and they are also bullies potentially as well. Nikita said to Marisha, how are you today? With Marisha basically saying she's feeling a lot better than the previous night. She's kind of letting everything cool down a little bit. And David became the head chef, saying that his head was in the game. Louis came to the diary room and he basically just said that people seem to nominate him because he's an easy target. And if he's being honest, he thinks that people have started finding easy reasons to vote for him, whether it's him being lazy or him not doing the washing up or things like that. And Ekin-Su has given him mixed signals that he likes her, but he just doesn't really know her that well. Zizi had a chat with both Fern and Louis, saying that obviously black culture has recently been accepted within the last 5 years, and the majority of people who obviously are watching Big Brother won't know who she is unless they're part of that culture. David said to Bradley that he'd made a full English breakfast for the first time, with Bradley saying that it tasted good. And then Marisha and Ekin-Su were kind of doing the washing up, and she basically said to her, look, I'm sorry, with Ekin saying, I'm over it, let's move on. And then Marisha said, look, I hope you know that the conversations between us were not fake, because I think at this point, Ekin-Su basically thought that everything that they had kind of done together in the house was not genuine, because she obviously then nominated her. But then I guess here Ekin was like, look, I enjoyed everything that we had. So again, it's kind of in past tense that I enjoyed everything that we had. Is that a hint that she doesn't want to go forward with anything else, or is she kind of just saying, like, as of now, I want to just draw a line from it and move on? Levi explained to Coulson, Ekin-Su and Louis that he actually enjoyed the COVID lockdowns because he was able to spend time with his family. Louis found out that he had a rare cancer, so obviously it wasn't the best of times for himself, but it affected him mentally. He's all fine now, and obviously it was just a bit of a shock for him to be sick. David explained that he, in the Big Brother house, is kind of a lifetime opportunity. People obviously are on similar wavelengths, and that makes it a little bit more fun. He said that he's really, really invested and he wants to stay until the end, but obviously knows that it's not in the housemates' hands. It's obviously in the public's hands. And then for the task, all of the housemates had to produce a series of podcasts with Coulson, Levi and Zizi being the professionals, and this would obviously be part of a series called Shed Talks. Up first was the addition of Bradley and David, and the winners of the podcast were going to get a slumber party to kind of celebrate their win. So Bradley and David were talking about dating, relationships and everything in between, with David saying he hates the word ick. Ekin-Su said that David eating and laughing was quite funny, and Louis said that he shouldn't be eating whilst doing a podcast. Bradley explained that washing machines are quite easy to use, ovens are quite complicated. And Zizi said to the other housemates, it seems like Bradley was taking control of that conversation. David explained that when he was at school, he was actually quite scared to be truly who he was, hiding himself from other people. And Louis basically said that they would be good if they were to loosen up and stop eating sweets, with Bradley saying, obviously this podcast was all about the tea, the whole tea, and nothing but the tea. Up next was the Battle of the Ages, Boomers versus Zoomers. So Coulson and Nikita, Levi and Louis were up next. And Levi just said to introduce the podcast, we don't just talk the talk, we walk the walk, with Louis saying, oh my god, did you just make that up? And they were having a nice little dance to the music, with Marisha saying, look at Louis, as if like, look, he's doing something quite funny, quite unique. Some of the questions that they asked included Coulson's question, should we bring back the national service? So Levi basically explained that is people doing things for their country, with Louis saying it would get a lot of people in the younger generations off of their phone, and then Zizi obviously said to the other housemates, look, Louis needs to just stop talking. Nikita explained that obviously this was a bit of a real situation for himself. He wanted to go back home to obviously help people in Ukraine, and he thought he'd actually try and help from another country. So he's been donating to charities, appearing on TV shows, doing everything he can to obviously, fight this battle from the best that he can. Coulson basically said about that he's obviously socially aware and he knows that he can do a lot more from this side. And then moved on to the next question, which was cancel culture, whether it threatens democracy, with Louis saying that you have to be careful not to obviously offend anybody. And then Coulson had a quick round of quick generation game, asking all of the different people on the panel what the different words meant. So for ghosting, Louis said he thought it meant pretending to be something. A glow up, Levi said he had no idea. Louis said he'd never heard of the words, with Zizi saying obviously some of those words came from British black culture, and David said that he didn't use any of those words either. Nikita had a quick chat with Levi and Zizi, asking whether the word wagwan was an offensive word, and Zizi basically said not really, it's just kind of popular with obviously the black culture. Levi said it sounds a little bit put on, so I guess in certain situations when you need to use that word you can obviously use it. And Zizi said that in certain black culture, it's also become pop culture and kind of the way that people speak, the way that people act, the way that people do things. So I guess it's one of those things that depending on the audience, some people would get offended by it, others wouldn't, but I guess the best thing is just not to say that word. And then Bradley said to Ekin, how would a podcast work out? And she said that she's actually had a lot of offers of people asking her to be on their podcasts, but she knows that people just want to use her for clout because they know she's got kind of a big following. And then Nikita came to the diary room saying that he asked Zizi and Levi about the word beginning with W, what it means, and obviously that some people might dislike it and might be offended by it. So he kind of just wanted to clear that up, that he's not saying it in a bad way, he's just curious. And then finally, for the final podcast, we had the girls. So Ekin-Su, Fern, Zizi and Marisha were all up, and their question was what makes women beautiful. Bradley said it was nice to have Sharon in the background, it was iconic because there was a photo of Sharon in the photo frame. And Zizi asked whether they would change their looks, and if they do they change for themselves or do they change for other people. Marisha said that she always changes herself. For example, she used things such as her changing her teeth and her losing weight in order for her to get more jobs in the creative world. So although she was doing it for herself, she knew it would obviously bring her more opportunities as well. Ekin-Su said that any changes that she makes to herself is purely for herself. And David said it was a good panel because they were all from different walks of life. Nikita said Zizi was good, and Levi said that she seemed to be controlling the conversation. And then Zizi asked about the long hair maintenance, which I guess was regarding the downstairs area, and she said that she almost seemed to get with somebody, and then obviously as soon as they realised that that was a thing, they were obviously not interested anymore. And then they briefly spoke about having a 3-person relationship, which Levi said to Louis was not a chat for fun. Louis came to the diary room saying all the podcasts were good. He thinks the girls' podcast was the best, that it got their attention. Zizi was not predictable, and at first he didn't really understand her, but he's seen the real Zizi and he seems to like it so far. David said it was quite nostalgic because it obviously may be his last day, and he said that he didn't want to go. And Zizi said to Levi that he seemed a little bit deflated, with Levi saying he misses his family and he doesn't mind going home. And then Zizi said that they obviously want you to be as home as soon as possible, but I guess also want you to be in the Big Brother house, kind of, you know, making an even bigger name for yourself. David had a chat with Coulson about obviously being on Coronation Street, and he was basically talking about the way that he kind of makes himself cry on cue. So David said to Coulson, well, what if you can't cry? What if you physically can't create the tears? With Nikita asking if he could actually have a little fake cry right now. And Coulson said the easiest way to do it is to take yourself to some sad, dark places, with David saying there's a tear on my finger, because I think he was able to try and make himself cry a little bit, but not too much. Up next was the game of Dares. So Bradley rolled toilet paper on the table, and David said that he wanted Bradley to do an improvised performance of needing the toilet. He's in a long queue, and yeah, he needs to dance his way to the front of the queue. Ekin-Su managed to get her toilet paper all the way to the end of the table, and she dared Louis to get up and have a little twerk. Nikita dared David to seductively crawl on the table, so he kissed Ekin-Su, kind of grinded on Zizi a little bit, so that was quite sexy but also quite funny. Bradley had to wrap up Fern in toilet paper for the rest of the game, and obviously went kind of around her mouth as well, and Coulson said I wasn't really sure you were going to gag her, with Ekin saying that it was a little bit kinky, but I guess Bradley was just trying to innocently wrap her up like a mummy. Coulson dared Louis to stand on top of the steps and sing You Raise Me Up. So they were all chanting Louis, and then they all decided to sing the chorus together as well. David said to Zizi that they were his favourite podcasters, and they had a sleepover in their spare room with snacks and obviously a foot spa as well. And then Ekin-Su asked Nikita and Levi whether she thought all men would cheat, and Levi basically replied and said sex, relationship, conversations and food. If one of those is missing, there's usually a chance that somebody is going to cheat. And then Ekin said it's quite hard to trust people, and if you love someone, it's obviously quite difficult to let them go. Nikita was having a chat with both Coulson and Bradley, asking them if he felt them licking their elbow, because I think the one place you can't feel someone's, I guess, other features is elbow. And then David asked Zizi whether she'd obviously be in a relationship with a girl, saying that she likes masculine energy, and in the last few years she has met a few women and she is open to it, but she's not kind of sure if it's going to lead anywhere, and also she's not sure if she wants kids either. She said it would be quite selfish to her mum, questioning whether her mum would want grandchildren, and then David said you've just kind of got to do what is best for yourself. And then David said they should do a little game of snog, marry, avoid with the current housemates. So they basically picked Levi, Coulson and Nikita. Zizi said that she would snog Nikita. She would purely only marry Levi for the cooking. So basically would avoid him. And then obviously she thinks Coulson's a really, really nice guy, so she'd marry Coulson. And then Ekin-Su basically said she needed to wash her hair. Not really sure about what was going to happen in tomorrow's eviction. And Marisha said, let's see what happens. With Ekin saying, just take it day by day, let's see what happens tomorrow. Zizi was talking to David, saying that there's space at the end of her bed, with David saying that this could be his last sleep. And then when it came to the Big Brother eviction, there were people chanting, get Ekin out. Like, straight away people were chanting for Ekin-Su and Louis to also be out. The first housemate evicted was Levi, with Louis basically saying, Levi, we love you. And then we found out our final 9 were David, Fern, Ekin, Brad, Zizi, Marisha, Louis, Coulson and Nikita. We went back to the house because the housemate found out that obviously a second one of them was going to be evicted, and Ekin-Su was the second person in that evening to be evicted. Marisha said, I love you. saying, Louis, you're not dreaming, with David saying, Ekin-Su, you've got this. So yeah, she basically looked at Marisha and just said, look, I want you to win now, go and win it for me, or something along the lines of that. So yeah, it was a bit of a random episode. It kind of started quite sad and then kind of got a little bit more fun and exciting, and then obviously at the end we found out double eviction. Was very, very shocked to see both Levi and Ekin-Su get eliminated from the house. I think Levi was really, really nice. I'm not sure why people didn't like him. I'm not sure why they weren't picking up their phone voting for him. Maybe they thought he was safe. Maybe they thought he was too safe and that he was not going to go, so they just voted for someone else that they wanted to actually keep. And then for Ekin-Su, I guess she does have a good following from Love Island, but at the same time, maybe they were on side Marisha for that little disagreement, or maybe they just thought, actually, you know, she's not really the winner for this particular type of show. So yeah, Levi and Ekin were out, and then we had 8 housemates left. So bit of a shock. Like I said, not what I expected, but if you did enjoy my review, don't forget to like, comment, share and subscribe. And until my next review, thank you for watching and goodbye.